Today, we're going to dive into the story of a software engineer who goes by the name Codel Life. Her story is amazing, starting all the way in Iraq, and it's just this powerful reminder that a world-class tech career can really be built from anywhere. It proves that talent and drive, they don't care about geography. So, the first thing you should know about Codel Life, or CL as a lot of people call her, is that she really values her privacy. She actually shares her entire journey online using a Vtuber avatar, which adds this really unique kind of mysterious layer to her story. But don't let that avatar fool you for a second. When it comes to her work, she is all business. I mean, seriously, this is how she starts her interviews. No small talk, no fluff. She just jumps right into the deep end of the technical pool. And it's that direct, focused passion that really defines her as a serious engineer. And you know what? It's what makes her story so incredibly compelling. To really understand that professional drive, we've got to go back to the beginning. CL grew up in Iraq, and her experience gives a perspective that, let's be honest, a lot of us in the tech world might not be familiar with at all. As a kid, she was actually pretty sheltered from the struggles her family was facing. Her world was filled with American entertainment, cartoons, and movies on DVDs. And this constant early exposure to English, well, it wasn't just for fun. It became the absolute bedrock of her future in a tech industry that pretty much runs on English. So, how in the world did she turn cartoons into a career? Well, it all came down to being incredibly resourceful and self-motivated. Let's break down her, shall we say, unconventional education. Her learning path was completely 100% self-directed. It all started with a Disney program called Magic English and literally memorizing lines from movies like Mulan and Shrek. She even made a conscious choice to adopt an American accent, which was different from what her school was teaching. Then, once she got access to dial-up internet, remember that, she used Wikipedia and YouTube to just chase down anything she was curious about and eventually found platforms like freeCodeCamp to get the hands-on coding skills she needed. And this foundation in language, it led her directly to a really fascinating and critical field in machine learning when she was doing her master's degree, working with languages that the digital world has, for the most part, just left behind. So, what exactly is a low-resource language? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's a language that just doesn't have a massive digital footprint. While English has billions of articles and websites for an AI to learn from, a low-resource language, even if it's spoken by millions of people, simply doesn't have that huge digital library. And this chart just lays out the scale of the problem perfectly. You've got English way, way up at the top with a massive amount of data. Then you have other major languages. But then there's this really long tail of languages with tiny, tiny amounts of digital content in comparison. This data gap is the central challenge if you want to build AI tools for a truly global audience. It's a totally fair question, right? Why is more always better when it comes to training data for these models? Well, Cahill has a fantastic way of explaining this. It's so simple, but so powerful. A model that only has a little bit of data can really only repeat what it's seen in that one tiny paragraph. But a model that has read the entire book on astrophysics, well, now it can draw connections, understand context, and generate much more meaningful, nuanced results. The more text you feed it, the more it gets the relationships between words. So, to work around this data problem, engineers like Seal use a technique called fine-tuning. What they do is they take a huge model that's already been trained on a high-resource language, like English, and then they train it more on the smaller data set of the language they're targeting. It's a clever way to leverage the power of these giant models for a more specific, low-resource task. Okay, let's switch gears from her technical skills to her social strategy. Because building a career when you're not in a major tech hub requires a completely different kind of expertise, the art of creating a community from scratch. First, just take a look at her career path. She didn't just stay in one lane. She moved from web and Windows development over to Android and then into data analysis and visualization. This constant learning and adapting made her incredibly versatile and always ready for whatever came next. So, how did she build her network? She breaks it down into 3 really simple levels. Level 1, just show up. Go to the meetups other people are organizing. Level 2, step up and support. Join a club that already exists and help the people running it. And finally, level 3, take the lead. Start your own events, like she did with the Google Hashcode competition, and make them public so you can attract even more people. And this is the core idea behind her entire networking philosophy. It's not just about making contacts or swapping business cards, it's about intentionally collecting people, building a genuine, supportive community of peers who share your interests and your drive. So today, CL is still collecting people, but now she's doing it as a mentor and a guide for others. And she does it mostly by live streaming her work. I love this. She kind of jokes that she's a lazy learner, but what she's really done is created this brilliant system for herself. By scheduling regular live streams where she's learning new things, she creates public accountability. She says that breaking that promise to her viewers feels way worse than just skipping a study session on her own. It keeps her consistent. And this ties directly into her personal rule for staying relevant in such a fast-moving industry. She dedicates 10% of her week, just 10%, to actively learning something that is going to improve her career. And this brings us to a really crucial mindset shift. That feeling of comfort in a job you've completely mastered, it can be an illusion. Sure, you know the cycle, it feels safe, but real safety in today's world comes from challenge, from constantly learning new skills and creating options for yourself. That 10% of learning, that is what builds a real safety net. So, as we wrap up this incredible story of resilience and resourcefulness and community, the focus now kind of shifts from her journey to yours. Think about it. CL started by memorizing lines from Disney movies and going to a local meetup. Her story proves you do not need to be in Silicon Valley or some other tech hub to start building something amazing. You just need to start. So the real question is, what's your first step?